your time.
All right, 5 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. Robin, there was a story this morning about some Marines who got in trouble because they were sharing pictures of naked ladies, Robin. And and I said to you, oh my gosh, men are looking at pictures of naked women. What's the world coming to?
Yeah.
And I kind of made light of it, but obviously, the Marines have a different level of standard that they have to live up to.
Yes.
But they're men, and
human.
And I'm not saying what they did was right. I'm just saying it's not a surprise. That's just the way we're built, Robin. I'm sorry. It's just the way we like.
That's okay. It's flattering.
R.M.A. Spears is on the phone. He retired from the United States Marine Corps after serving 27 years. Wow, in the military. He attended aviation officer candidate school during a tour of duty in the United States Navy. Mm-hmm. He contributed to the script for the movie An Officer and a Gentleman. Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah.
He's written a book called Armor of Glass. It is a novel based loosely on his own life. But we've given him more than a 10-minute interview, which is typical for novelists, by the way. But we wanted to speak to him longer because obviously he's got an amazing story to tell himself. And this question, where have all the real men gone? Where are they, Robin?
I know.
R.M.A. Spears, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Where are you? Where are you calling from?
I'm sitting on the right coast of Missouri on the Mississippi River.
All right.
Nice.
All right. Well, thank you for your service, and thank you for being on our show this morning.
Thank you.
Real quickly, how would you like me to address you? Mr. Spears? R.M.A.? Is there
Ron.
Ron?
Yep.
Okay, that makes it easy. Thank you. And I'm just Larry. Just
Okay.
two men. And Robin is a woman.
Yes. I'm glad.
Anyway, thank you for being on the air. What did you think of the story this morning? Did you hear that story about the naked pictures? I guess it was.
I did not hear the story, but my guess is they were using government computers, which is a big no-no.
Oh, that might be the big thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know I have it in here somewhere. And they were using Facebook or something. And okay, the Defense Department is investigating reports that some Marines shared naked photographs of female Marines. So that's part of it too.
Yeah, because it was probably not approved upon pictures, and if they're on active duty at the time, that's a big no-no.
Yeah. So what does Armor of Glass mean? What does the title refer to?
Well, let me take one step back and say you mentioned it before about me contributing to the script to Officer and a Gentleman. So my book is like, you take the movie Officer and a Gentleman, add 20 years, 20 pounds, 3 kids, an absent wife, and a bad civilian job when a old seductive friend reappears.
Oh, okay.
Old seductive friend.
And an absent wife. Sure, I believe that.
Okay, all right. Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Did that happen to you?
Yes, it did.
Oh, my.
Oh, so this is not a novel. This is a true story.
It is a fictionalized memoir, yes.
Okay, so who showed up?
An old flame from high school who was a high-ranking officer in the Air Force.
Oh, my gosh. And did it change your life?
It changed everything.
So the glass, I'm assuming, means it's fragile. You have armor, but it's a fragile armor.
Yes.
Okay. Breakable or see-through, maybe.
See through at times, yes.
See-through. Oh,
Very
my gosh.
transparent.
Okay, so do you... Do I ask you about you, or do I ask about a character?
We could talk about the character, yes.
What's the character's name, Robin? What's the character's name?
The protagonist is Brick.
Wow, that's a cool name. Brick. All right. So
I figured it's appropriate for somebody who's a little thick-headed.
So Brick is a human. He's a man, right? And so a woman enters his life, and he had a flame with her, or she was a flame, I should say. And of course, things are going to happen. So does Brick resist the temptation, or does he instigate the temptation? What happens?
There's a lot of things that happen over the course of 40 years. Brick was a survivor of childhood abuse and turned his life around. Instead of being one that grew up depressed and pissed off and angry, he turned it into an energy that got him to be scholar athlete and selected to the academies and joined the service.
By the way, most guests can't say pissed off, but if you're a Marine, you can say it.
Exactly.
Thank you.
But when a person is in the service, he or she is gone for long periods of time, and they're, if you're married and you have children, the spouse raises them until the partner comes home, and then all of a sudden the spouse has to take on a different kind of a role, because the person who is in the military is home, and otherwise that person could feel useless and not wanted and not loved.
Deployments are extremely difficult on military families. It's one of the reasons why in the Navy and Marine Corps especially, a lot of young men and women have been married and divorced multiple times, unfortunately.
Yeah. So in writing the book, do you explore life as it is in 2017, or life as it is for you? Do you explore the frailties that we all, the shortcomings that we all face? Are the women just as much, I guess, tempted by what's around us as the men are?
A lot of questions in that statement. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I expose and discuss the frailties. I talk about a person who wore the uniform who didn't want to be the grumpy person that he was, and he was never happy, always trying to find something new and exciting. As a matter of fact, he considered himself a sacrifice. One of the reasons he was in the military is as a sacrifice almost. He was willing to give his life because he didn't think his life was worth much. And yes, the book is a raw portrait of a guy as he navigates the military and midlife and marriage and what women in uniform are like and what men in uniform are like.
Do you know what it sounds like so far? It sounds like you're just being honest. It just sounds like you're just telling the truth, and most people won't tell the truth. Everybody hides behind this facade, this image that we're all supposed to be. But it sounds like you're just simply telling the truth. And I bet you a lot of your readers are relating to it and probably happy that they're reading the truth, that somebody else has gone through something like this.
I would like to think so. Reader's Digest gave me a bronze medal in 2015 for the book. It beat out 60 other books. But one of the commenters, one of the reviewers, said it was the most realistic love story he'd ever read.
Yeah. So far, from what we've known so far,
Yes.
and we just scratched the surface so far. That's what it sounds like to me, that this is what happens in the real world. Okay, we're up against the break. That's the real world, too. Ron, R.M.A. Spears, give me just a moment here. We'll be back in about 2 minutes to continue our conversation. The book is called R.M.A. of Glass. It is a novel based loosely on R.M.A. Spears' life. We'll take a break and be right back. This is The Source, WOCA.
The weather is brought to you by myfwc.com. Safe boating is no accident. For the rest of the day, breezy with clouds and sun. An afternoon high 77 to 79, then a mainly clear night tonight with a low 57 to 64. Sunshine and some clouds for tomorrow, high 79 to 83, then sun and some clouds Wednesday, high 83 to 85. From the Florida Weather Center, I'm Kevin Snyder.
Get it for less at the DIY Home Center outlet. Get top quality real wood cabinets the same or less than the big box stores are selling the cheap stuff. And that's not all. Drywall screws big box stores are $6.47 a pound. At DIY, only $4.99. Plus, DIY has the largest selection of mobile home parts and accessories anywhere. From carpet to doors, get the DIY supplies you need for less. The DIY Home Center outlet. We are your building material closeout store. 2191 Northwest 10th Street, just 2 miles east of I-75.
Hi, I'm Seth with AA Lock, Dock, and Security. Have you ever thought about the locks or security on your house or business? Have you ever wondered why the keys to your new car cost so much? Well, at AA Lock, Dock, and Security, we can help with securing your valuables. We can even replace those expensive transponder keys. We can give you the knowledge that no one else will. Call AA Lock, Dock, and Security at 867-1965. That's 867-1965.
You've got a garden and we've got a show for you called You've Got a Garden with your host, Master Gardener Carol Ann Baldwin. Carol Ann answers your questions about your flowers, your veggies, your grass, your trees, even questions about your bugs. She's only on WOCA, so don't miss Carol Ann Baldwin and You've Got a Garden each Tuesday from 9 a.m. to 10 a.m. right here on WOCA The Source.
All right, 17 minutes after 11 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. The book we are talking about is our Armor of Glass, and I just put the Amazon book cover, what they show on the Amazon page of the book cover on the streaming video. So if you're watching the video, you can see the book cover now. And by the way, speaking of Amazon, it's got a 4-star rating from its reviewers, and have to ask our guest about the cover. R.M.A. Spears is our guest. Ron, he told me I could call him Ron. Ron, is that you on the cover? Is that you as a baby?
That is a picture of me, yes.
Oh, wow. What are you holding? Is that a gun?
That's a gun, yes. So I was in training from a very early age, yes.
Okay, so the story starts at what age?
It jumps around, but the story starts with a grizzled veteran battling commuters on a Dallas train, and he runs into commuters that remind him of different pieces of his past, and then he'll go back there.
Okay. And at what point does he? What's the name of his flame?
Cameo.
Cameo. Cameo. Okay. Cameo, and she makes more than a cameo, obviously. So how do the two meet up?
Oh, well, initially they met up in Air Force Junior ROTC in high school.
Oh, okay. And they were dating at that time?
They were barely dating, yes, but they had a lot in common then, and they were both trying to get into the Air Force Academy.
Okay. So now 40-something years passes by, they meet up again. Where do they meet up the second time, or later in life?
Actually, back home in St. Charles, Missouri, where both of them grew up, and both of them are very unhappy with their marital situations.
Okay.
Do you think some of that unhappiness is caused because right now people can't really have one spouse living on one income, that both spouses have to work to support the family?
This one did not happen that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
But yes, there is some of that out there, but that's not how this one played out.
Just to ask about the parallel with your own life, from the point that we're up to in our conversation, did the wife who you were married to at that time, has she read the book?
Oh, no.
No. and is it okay that what would she think if she read? Would it reveal things to her that she knew already?
Yes.
Oh, okay. And does Brick ever marry Cameo? Do they ever get together?
I can't divulge that.
That's a good thing.
All right. So that's why we have to buy the book, right? Oh my gosh.
How intricate of a role do the children play in your novel?
Let's say they play enough of a role that that the man feels like he has completely destroyed his life.
Oh my gosh. And because the character is a survivor of childhood abuse, does he suffer flashbacks sometimes through the story?
Not so much that, but unfortunately he runs into him again later in life.
Oh my gosh.
So do you think being in the military molds a man into maybe the traditional man's role more so than the guy who never enters the military and maybe marries an equal, let's say an accountant who never entered the military, and he marries a female accountant? The role of man being I'm the hero, I'm the one who provides, and she's, it sounds like you don't have exactly, or Brick didn't have that exact relationship, but do you think I guess the expectations stem at all from the life in the military? Do you think that person has a different outlook on what they're expected to do or how they're expected to be?
That's a loaded question. I'm going to try to unload it a little bit. Being an infantryman in the Marine Corps, men grow up, train, and operate around nothing but men, as opposed to a lot of civilians out there who work in and around a lot of women. Very few women interaction through the course of a 20-year career if you're a Marine grunt, a ground pounder. Mm-hmm. And men are always sharpening each other, if you will, to make them all the more manly, if you will, during that process. So you take that and remove that person and put them in a civilian world with a less stature of a job, earning less money, and then the spouse who had been a stay-at-home mother has to go to work. Things start to fall apart.
And do you think that's because of the political correctness these days? I mean, everybody's getting hammered from, the philosophies of the elected officials nationally down to the local level.
Sometimes it's political correctness. I mean, I wish I had no problems with the spouse working and her making an income, and I would have loved. I worked 80 to 100 hours of my life for the last 40 years, and I would have loved to have had a spouse that had a job and made more money than me. So I wouldn't have had an issue with that. And I would have hoped we'd have been able to come up with a home life that was one of mutual sharing, mutual respect, and where we were able to take care of each other and support each other at home. But as far as political correctness getting into it, I don't know that actually plays into the man being the provider, because I think women want the man to be a provider, whether they need him to or not at that moment.
Exactly.
The provider is also providing attention.
I don't know if you've ever done this, and I don't mean to put you in an uncomfortable place with a question, but here, I just wondered something. It sounds like you've got some really good, really honest thoughts on how we should behave as men and women. And so if I could put you in the uncomfortable place, and like I say, maybe you've done this, but let's say you went to a juvenile jail or something, and you were asked to speak to a room full of 100 male delinquents who were maybe 17 years old, and they're just right at the edge of becoming adults. Mm-hmm. And the reason I picked delinquents is because they're already doing things that are getting them in trouble, obviously. What would you tell them as far as how to live their lives so that they would be the happiest, and especially regarding dating and treating women?
Well, I would probably start off by going around the room and try to find the overriding source of their rebellion or their anger that put them in the place they were in. And after finding that out, we would talk about how to try to steer that to something more positive, to where they may not be in the complete control they want to be, but they would be in a more controlling position of their life to try and find the self-reliance and responsibility that they're wanting in their own lives.
Are you able to look at someone and have a conversation with someone and realize that they too were abused as a child without them telling you?
I had that happen, and it's in the book. Yes.
Gosh.
Matter of fact, we spent several hours together because of the incident. He thought that determined his sexuality, and we had to talk at length, and I had to relay to him about what had happened to me so that he could go on. And he was willing to quit boot camp, but then he did find me a couple of weeks later. He hollered at across the grinder. He was hobbling on a crutch. He was so excited because he had stayed and he'd worked so hard he broke his leg.
Oh my! What a huge responsibility you have writing this book, sir, and touching the lives of others that are going to be reading it.
I see it as a very honest and very powerful book, and I can see, and I'm looking at some of the samples that are posted on Amazon. So I was able to read like 12 pages real quickly. Just so you know, the book didn't arrive. That's why we don't really have the whole book absorbed yet. But what it sounds like to me is it's very honest and very powerful because of its honesty, and I do think it will serve the young man who's trying to find his way in this world, as well as the seasoned man, the older man, who maybe is still struggling with some issues. I think you're going to hit both targets, and I don't know, maybe Robin, from your point of view, it'll affect women as well. I don't know.
I think so. I believe that.
I have spent the last 50 years trying to. Well, I hate to say it because it's a shame that someone would spend half a century trying to find happiness and peace within themselves. But even writing the book and then rewriting it 6 times, it was cathartic. It was the perfect therapy. And I have since read that people who have issues need to, even if they don't publish it, they need to at least write it down and then toss it in the trash can. But at least to be able to write it down and put all of their feelings and hurt and possible solutions on paper.
The book is called Armor of Glass. The author that you will look up is R.M.A. Spears. And I did find that on Amazon. It's also available as a Kindle. Am I right?
Yes.
Okay. And what other websites do you want to leave us with?
Well, they can follow my blog. Look me up on ronaldspears.com or rmaspears.com.
Okay, ronaldspears.com. Okay, I'm going to go to it right now. Thank you for being on the air with us. This is one of the most honest and straightforward interviews I think we've had in a long time. And I'm guessing there's a little bit of pain in retelling the story to all of us radio geeks. So thank you for your courage, your continued courage. I mean, you've lived a life of courage. There's no questioning that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you for what you've done and for your service and for sharing this. I think you're still a hero, even with this. If this book is showing, you're going to save some people. That's what I think. All right, we'll be right back. Thank you.
Fox News Radio, I'm Pat O'Neill. President Trump within an hour due to issue a new immigration travel ban. As to what's different from the ban put on hold by the courts, presidential counselor Kellyanne Conway tells Fox and Friends.
Legal permanent residents were always excluded from it, but that's made much more clear now. If you have travel docs, if you actually have a visa, if you're a legal permanent resident, you are not covered.
Iraq agreeing to cooperate with U.S. vetting procedures has been dropped from the original list of 7 mostly Muslim nations. Some Democrats say the president's claim former President Obama bugged his phones is meant to deflect attention from Mr. Trump's possible links to Russia.
House Oversight Committee Republican Chair J.